Good morning, everybody. So it's going to be a big week this week in the UK. There are local elections on Thursday, and there's the coronation of Charles III on Saturday. To be honest with you, I've hardly thought about the coronation. I'm still not really thinking about it too much. There's all kinds of things being said and things being done. I will talk about that later because as the leader of a political party, the Heritage Party in the UK, my focus has totally been on the local elections, and it still is. I'm standing myself, and the Heritage Party has got 76 candidates at the different levels. One candidate standing for mayor of Bedford, that's Alberto Thomas, and he is doing a fantastic job, and he's got some amazing write-ups in local media. He's the only candidate standing in the Bedford's mayoral contest who is against the nonsense of net zero and climate alarmism and Agenda 2030 and 15-minute cities and LTNs and all these other things that all the other parties, the globalist parties, fake Conservative, Labour, Lib Dem, Green are all pushing together. They're all working in lockstep together to bring in these aspects of Agenda 2030 which are going to restrict our freedom. And Alberto stands against that, and for scientific common sense on carbon dioxide. This gas, which is a naturally occurring gas in the atmosphere, that is food for plants, that is pumped up. The levels of CO2 are artificially increased in greenhouses where we grow fruit and vegetable so that plants grow quicker and produce more fruit and vegetables. And this whole ideology that says carbon dioxide is a pollutant is utter nonsense. And so he's been standing against that very, very well and effectively, and had good write-ups in the local media in Bedford. I'll put a couple of links to those articles below so you can see them. And it's all totally in line with what I've said and I've been saying for years, many years, and our manifesto as well. So as well as Alberto standing in Bedford, we have 64 candidates standing around the country at district and borough level. Unfortunately, we can't cover everywhere yet. Now, I know a lot of people have been writing from all over, from Birmingham, from Newcastle, from Derby, from North Devon, etc., saying, oh, I wish we had a candidate from the Heritage Party to vote for. I've only got Tory, Labour, Lib Dem, Green. I'm going to spoil my ballot paper. I'm getting so many people writing to say that. All I can say is, I'm sorry, we don't have a candidate for you yet. There's 8,000 seats up for grabs in local council elections this year. No party has got full coverage in all 8,000 council seats. Not even the ones that have been established for over 100 years have got full coverage. We would like to, in the future, that is my aim, my medium to long-term aim is to be able to do that. But I need you to come on board, join me, join the Heritage Party, and stand yourself in local elections, because this really is it's a grassroots operation. There's so many seats to be covered every single year in local elections. I mean, there's at least 2,500 seats up for grabs every single year in various places in local elections. So there's always a need for local people to put themselves forward and stand. So please do consider doing that. But the ones we have, are doing an amazing job of putting their leaflets out, knocking on doors, campaigning, and all over the country. We're getting fantastic feedback. Now, how that feeds into the results, I don't know. It's up to you, the voters who are watching, to decide who you want. Do you want to carry on with the 4 different flavours of globalism and cultural Marxism that we've got at the moment? Or do you want something different that is going to restore our nation and turn us away from the globalist agendas, pushes Agenda 2030 to the side, and just get back to common sense, to running our country in a way that works before we had all these globalist bodies trying to come in with all the people with their different agendas to ruin everything. Because basically this what is happening in our country now. It's not just wrong, it's insane. There's so much insanity. I mean, every day you hear this nonsense about transgenderism, and you know that men can say they're women and women can say they're men and girls can say they're boys and boys can say they're girls, and you have to acknowledge that, otherwise in some places you get thrown out of your job. I mean, I used to be a teacher for 20 years. I mean, I don't know if I could go back and teach in a school in the UK, because I'd have to acknowledge that some boys were girls and some girls were boys, and you get into trouble if you don't affirm this unreality, this delusion, this insanity that is going on, rather than standing up and saying, this is nonsense. These people, these kids, they're doing it, they're either going through a phase of gender dysphoria, which 99% of them will grow out of, or this is just nuts. All these people are doing this to just, you know, seek, they get rewarded and they get attention as children, but now for saying that they're a different gender to their actual biological sex. Because there's so many activists going into schools and actually teaching this stuff. So, you know, I don't know if I could go back and be a teacher again. I'd probably get fired within the hour if I started teaching. I can't. Probably it'd be funny to do a documentary on it or something like that, but my face is too well known. I don't think I could get through the process, but that's just a thought. But anyway, back to the main point of this video is that we've got candidates standing around the country, so 64 at district and borough level. We have 11 of those people also standing at town and parish council level, and 5 of them have already been elected unopposed in both Kent and Hampshire and Devon in various places. Very interesting, in one of the areas where we've got a candidate has been elected unopposed to a town council. I'm not going to say where it is, but his was elected unopposed, but there were no apart from 1 seat out of 7 on this town council, there were no actual elections, because it seems the parties have stood aside for each other, and there's now 4 Labour and 3 independent and 1 heritage party in an area which is fairly, you know, traditionally conservative. And he's heard, this is a very bizarre thing, that the parties have got together and said, oh, we're going apolitical now. This council is going apolitical. So it seems that they've all been in cahoots with each other to divvy up the seats and then say, okay, we're not going to stand against each other. We're all going to be, you know, part of the same agenda and program, and we're just going to let these people through the door, which is very, very undemocratic and unethical, if you like. But yeah, it's legal, because, you know, there's nothing to stop political parties from working together or making alliances. They're allowed to do that. But if the public don't know about it, then this is all happening behind closed doors, and that's very, very wrong. You know, ethically wrong, even if it's not legally wrong. But we got a Heritage Party candidate has come in and completely scuppered their plans. So we've got one person on this particular town council. Again, I'm not going to say where it is, but this is just what I've been hearing, that the plans to go apolitical have not worked. But you've got to watch this around the country and just check out various places. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, it's almost like that everywhere. As I said, you've got 4 different flavors of globalism. They're all adherent to the same globalist agenda. So, you know, in a way, it's the country is, unless we build this alternative, which I'm building, and many of you have joined the Heritage Party and are building this together, you're going to get what's called, an apolitical system, if you like. It's good. It's like the Soviet Union. You had 3 people on the ballot paper, but they were all part of the Communist Party. Now you've got, if you've only got the old parties, Tory, Labour, Lib Dem, Green, you've got 4 candidates on the ballot paper, but they're all part of the globalist party. They're all part of the Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum, puppet party system. So we are outside of that, and we will smash cultural Marxism and Agenda 2030 in this country if you give us a chance and you come and join in, and you stand as well in the numbers that we need to stand everywhere. And obviously on the back of this, we're going to be leading up to the general election, which is coming. Not in the not too distant future. It will happen in 2024. Whether it happens in the spring or the autumn, I don't know. It's up to this unelected Prime Minister that we've got now, in a way, Rishi Sunak, who's taken the job after ousting Liz Truss, who took the job after Boris Johnson was ousted. But they're all dreadful as each other. But it is up to him to make the decision when the election is. I think they will probably go as far as possible to the end of their possible term, because they know they're going to get hammered at the general election. So my thoughts are it probably will be in October 2024, but it could be earlier. But we really need many more people to come and join us and stand as candidates for the general election, so we have a genuine opposition, not a fake opposition, a genuine opposition to the insanity, so that we can properly restore our nation, control our borders, re-establish traditional family values, protect and defend our heritage, look after our towns and cities, protect our countryside from being paved over because there's mass immigration which needs people to build new masses of new housing units. Those two things go together, and to stop the surveillance society that is being built around us with cameras everywhere and ULEZs and LESs, and LES meaning low emission zone, not anything else, and 15-minute cities and 20-minute neighborhoods and all these kind of things, that we just don't want. And we need to keep cash, and we need to keep our fundamental freedoms, especially freedom of speech, which is going to be undermined by the online safety bill, which is a horrendous piece of legislation that the fake conservatives are pushing through with the full backing of the other globalist parties in Parliament, which will make what they call misinformation criminal. So who decides what's misinformation? Whatever panel the government sets up. Very much like the Bolsheviks in the Soviet Union in 1917. You could just be arrested arbitrarily for saying something that someone on one day deems to be misinformation or harmful or offensive or grossly offensive or whatever they say. We should have free speech and freedom of expression, and that is being undermined all the time. Doesn't matter which different flavour of globalist parties you have, they're all going down the same route. So the point is, we are very excited about our candidates standing for the local elections. I'm hoping for the first time that we will be able to win some seats and get some seats in councils around the country. We shall see what happens, but whatever happens, we're growing, and we will then be immediately turning our attention to the general elections next year and starting to get ready for those as well. So thanks for everybody who has supported us, who's donated to our candidates, who has joined us, who stood for us, and is thinking about standing next time. Please keep on coming and joining us and standing, and let's take our nation back together. Thanks, everybody.